Scott. I want to go ahead and quickly touch on the whole idea of how to tape a kid's tube. And why that comes into play is simple, and that's called when we've got adults. As a rule, we're very good with taping adults because we tape around the head, around the neck, around the back, around the toes. There's tape everywhere. But when it comes to little kids, for many of us, this is not what we do every single day. So with that in mind, just a couple quick things when it comes to making a tube stay put. The first of which involves these various tube holders. Moral of the story, they come in different shapes and sizes. If you've got one, I highly recommend you use it. The idea being they've got a couple really cool features. First of which, they don't require you to tape anything. Number two, they come with this foam that goes around the back of the neck, velcros in place. Meaning, if they have trauma, bloody face, something of that sort, whereas you know that tape is not going to stick, it doesn't care, it does a nice job. Other kind of neat features is on most of the devices, they also come with some sort of a built-in bite block, which is kind of a nice thing. As your patient wakes up, before you go ahead and knock them back down, if they decide to bite, they're not going to bite the tube. And if you've got a Thomas tube holder, which comes in an adult or a little kid size, remember, simply once the tube is in, then, as many of y'all have seen, you just simply screw gently this device so that it holds the tube where you want it to be. Or if you've got the Ambu tube holder, which works for kids and adults, simply once your tube is in place, then you can go ahead and just gently cinch it down onto the tube. But either way, if you've got them, I highly recommend you use them. So if you're not going to use some sort of a fancy tube holder, you're simply going to tape the tube. But the issue remains, first of which, what type of tape should you use? And probably more importantly, what type of tape should you not use? Couple things that I do not recommend. Number one, as you can imagine, is Scotch tape. Number two, tempting as it might be, is duct tape. Number three is paper tape. Now those three are pretty easy to roll out. However, especially in the back of the rig or the ER, two very commonly found tapes that I do not recommend. Number one is called Transport. This is that clear tape. We use it to tape charts together if we can't find a stapler. It lasts about 3 seconds in the presence of saliva. Don't use it. Close runner-up for the don't use is called Durapore tape, otherwise known as silk tape. It lasts about 5 seconds in the presence of saliva. Don't use it. The rationale, the way you remember this, is simple, and it's called read the name of the tape. Durapore, Transpore. It's a poor choice to tape your tube with. So with that, what type of tape actually does work? First of which is called high tape, otherwise known as pink tape. You see this a lot in the operating room. It actually works very well to tape a tube. Option number two is Elastoplast. This is that thick brown stretchy stuff like they use in the cath lab to hold down a pressure dressing. You can dunk this in a bucket and it will not fall off. The other option is called wet proof, otherwise known as thick white cloth tape. It's got wet and proof in it. You're dealing with goobers, it's got to be good. So if you're going to tape a kid's tube, anything that ends in poor is a poor choice. But outside of that, either pink tape, wet proof, or Elastoplast work great.